Let's see, is this thing on? Hello there, YouTube. Hey, how is it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward, and I think this is on. I think it is. There. Seems to be coming through clear. If you can hear me, if you can see me, if this is actually working, let me know. I'm just trying to get this thing set up there. All right, cool. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff, if this is actually coming through. There. I'm playing around with getting all set up. Okay, I think that's pretty centered. Try and line it up right there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Good stuff. All right, hey, how's it going? Lee Hayward here, and I'm going to be doing a live video Q&A. And the way these whole live video Q&A thingies work is I'm going to be hanging out here on YouTube on the live stream, and anything that you would like to discuss with regards to fitness, nutrition, building muscle, losing fat, getting in shape, any specific challenges that you're dealing with regards to your workouts, your nutrition, or whatever, feel free to type those comments, questions, topics of discussion into the chat window there, and I'll do the best that I can to help you out over the course of the next half hour, however long I feel like gabbing on for. Like, I don't really put it, I have no clock on the wall, right? So I usually go for about, at least a half an hour, but sometimes it's an hour, right? Who knows? It really depends on how many questions come through, if the questions are good, if I'm feeling chatty or not. So let's just see how it goes. I've got myself a bottle of water, so I'm going to wet the whistle. And let me know if you were brand new to these video chats. Like if this is your first time tuning into one of these live Q&As, let me know by typing in the letter N in the chat window there. Letter N means I'm a newbie. I'm new to these video chats. And if you're new, I want to welcome you. And if you're a regular, you've been tuning into these things for a while, I'll type in the letter R, meaning I am a regular. Let me know in the chat window there. And I think we got some new people joining in there, which is good to see. If you're new, I want to welcome you. It's always nice to have new people tuning in. This is something I've been doing for quite a while. Like if you don't know who I am and you're new to the whole thing, I've been on YouTube since like the start of YouTube. Like literally, I started my first back in 2006 when there was YouTube. That's when I started posting videos. And back then, I didn't even know like what YouTube was. And in fact, like YouTube wasn't what it is today. Like back in 2006, I thought it was just a place you could post a video. And the only thing that I did on YouTube back then was I used to take videos of myself lifting in the gym because I was training for powerlifting back then. And what I would do is I would take my old 8mm camcorder, set it up on a tripod and set it up in the gym next to the power rack, and I would videotape myself doing my lifts. So I'd squat, bench, deadlift, and I wanted to see if those lifts were good enough and if they would pass in competition. So I wanted to get that third person perspective by watching my videos, which is a great training tool, by the way. If you want to critique your own lifting form, watch yourself on video. You'd be amazed at how different you look on video compared to what you think you see when you look at yourself in the mirror. It's two totally different things. I promise you that. If you've never watched yourself lift on video before, do it, and you'll be surprised. But anyway, back to my little story. How I got started making videos is I was just making video clips of my lifts, and I was doing it to critique my form as I was training for powerlifting. And then if I would hit a personal best and I wanted to kind of brag and show off or whatever, I uploaded that video clip to YouTube, and then I would just email it to my buddies or whatever, say, hey, I squat X amount of weight today, or I bench a certain amount of weight today, and here's proof, here's a video, all right, I actually did it. And the next thing you know, it started to catch on. Like, more and more people started to post videos on the internet. And then some people started asking me like fitness, asked me to actually post up fitness tips on videos and stuff like that. So it just kind of snowballed from there. But like back in the old days of YouTube, it wasn't a community like it is now. It was literally just a place to put a video. That's all it was. And now it's a whole, community, like multi-channel network. I mean, it's like the biggest communication network in the world. And it's just crazy how it's grown. But yeah, so I've been at this for a long time. And then once they offered the ability to be doing live streams, then I was doing live streams on a regular basis. Usually one stream a week for years. And I've been doing that, again, regularly since 2006. So this is something I've been at quite a while now. And I still do it, every now and then I have a little a break from it because like over the last couple of weeks, I haven't been as active on YouTube as I normally am. And that's just because I actually ran a promotional challenge for my coaching program. I did the whole Lose Your Gut challenge, ran that over on Facebook. And that was bigger than I expected. And it took a lot of work running that challenge. And of course, then we had a lot of new coaching students come on board. So I've been busy setting up that and setting up working with new coaching students that I haven't had as much time to dedicate to making videos as I normally do. But now that I've got that settled away, I'm looking forward to getting back into making videos on a regular basis. So that's going to include a live video chat like this every Friday afternoon, along with at least one instructional, at least commit to one full-on instructional video each week, along with a live Q&A each week to keep steady content flowing here on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding channel. And I've got a new video in the works that should be uploaded very soon. I won't say any more than that, but it's one already in the works. All right, let's see who we got joining in today. So we have Space Battleship Alex. Gotta love the usernames. And he says, hello. We have Seth. And he says, there we go. It's back. I've been looking forward to this. I missed a few. All right, I've missed a few as well. So we're all on the same page. Hi, we got Lee joining in. We have Seth says he's new. Welcome, Seth. Glad to have you. Who else? Daniel is joining in, and Daniel has a question. So the first question of the day goes to Daniel Thomas. And he says, Lee, I've been lifting weight for several years. Started as a skinny guy. I've put on decent muscle mass, but have hit a plateau and haven't been able to put on any extra mass in the last year. Any advice? That's pretty common. That's a common scenario for pretty much everybody. When you start lifting weights, that's when you're going to make your best gains. A lot of people refer to it as the newbie gains. And as long as you are consistent in your first year of training, meaning that you actually train, none of this on and off crap, because like whatever progress you make when you're on, you're going to lose when you're off, right? I get a kick out of that. People say, oh, I've been working out on and off for, 6 months, 6 years, 10 years, whatever, on and off, on and off. Well, whatever you make while you're on, you're going to lose while you're off, right? So a lot of times when people say they've been training, on and off, really they probably been training for like 2 or 3 months, just over and over and over again, because they keep starting over and over and over again, that 2 to 3 month training, before they go on their next off phase. But anyway, back to the question. If you train your first year, assuming it's consistent and you're doing the best you can, I'm not saying it has to be perfect, but it's good enough, right? You're consistently in the gym, you're consistently eating a decent diet, you're getting enough nutrients, you're providing your body with the stimulus and the nutrition to grow. You're going to make your best gains in that first year. And then generally speaking, every year thereafter, you're going to make less and less gains. Now, the exact ratio and numbers and whatever is going to vary from person to person because there's so many variables involved, right? Like if you do a half-ass first year of training and then you do a really good second year of training, you may actually make better gains the second year because you're better with your consistency, better with your nutrition, better with your training variables and all that kind of stuff. But bottom line, you typically make your best gains early on, and then it gets less and less and less the longer you've been at it. Like in my case, I'm not growing bigger anymore. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm not continually to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, if you did, there'd be guys walking around at 1,000 pounds and shredded. Like it doesn't work that way. You hit a plateau. You hit your genetic limit, if you will, right? And eventually that's what happens. And this is how it usually works. Whatever gains you make in your first solid year of training, you'll probably make about half that your next year. And then the year after that, you're probably going to make half that again, and then half and half. And each year you can kind of basically cut your gains in half of what it was the previous year. So after you've been doing this for like 10 years or more, the gains are going to come painfully slow. It is. Like you're going to struggle to make any gains whatsoever after several years of training. And you look at guys who've been training for 10 years or more, they're kind of like at a ceiling. They're at a limit. Now, if you throw in performance-enhancing drugs and other things on top of it, that may extend that ceiling, extend that limit, and people get another growth spurt on top of that. But for a natural, normal, genetically average person, you are going to hit a limit in terms of like how much you can actually gain. Now, you can improve the quality of your gains. You can focus on improving like definition and getting leaner and certain things like that. But you're not just going to keep growing and growing nonstop forever, right? That's just the way it is. Now, does it mean that you should like throw in the towel and quit? Heck no. I mean, you always focus on optimizing and trying to get better, but just realize that the numbers aren't going to shoot up. Like, let's just say you gain 20 pounds your first year of lifting. You're not going to gain 20 pounds in your 10th year of lifting. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, hopefully that answers. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know. I just kind of get rambling here. It's not like I got a script in front of me. I just ramble. What are your thoughts about the book Beyond Brawn by Stuart McRobert? You know, I mean, Stuart McRobert's been around for a long time. I mean, the whole Beyond Brawn book, I don't have a copy of it myself, but I've you know, heard about it, and like I've flicked through it before, right? So I don't have a copy of it myself, but I have seen it before. I mean, most books like that, they're solid books. Like you're going to, I guarantee you read that book, you're going to walk away with tips and strategies and more than you went in with it. But the thing you need to realize with all this is look at the bigger picture with your training. Like when it comes to all the different coaches, all the different experts, all the different gurus, all the different YouTubers you're following along with, I mean, you may have your preferences and stuff, but you want to kind of see the consistent trends. Because when it comes to building muscle and losing fat and nutrition and training and all this kind of stuff, there's commonalities. Now, there's different variations, but there are commonalities, and you want to look for the commonalities. Like if someone is promoting, you know, consistent workouts and strength training and cardio and good quality nutrition and like all the fundamentals, and then someone else is, you know, trying to recommend a similar approach, but then you have someone else who totally is off the wall saying, hey, you don't need to do any of that kind of crap. You can follow, you know, you can eat the pizza and beer diet and work out for 2 minutes a day and get shredded. Like that's the person you want to watch out for, right? When it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? Like when you get that off the wall, totally outrageous stuff, that's when you want to kind of let your BS detector go off and say, okay, that sounds too good to be true, and you know, put up the red flag. But you want to look for people who are basically talking common sense. And that's a rarity in the fitness industry these days because there's so much hype and BS and all this stuff. And I think people are becoming more and more immune to it, and they want the truth. They want people who are just going to tell it like it is, and none of this overhyping, overselling, over crap, if you will. And that's what I try to do with these videos and with my coaching and all that kind of stuff is just cut out the shit. Like literally just cut out the shit and let's focus on what's real. What's a good, solid, realistic plan, a sustainable plan, and something that you can do that's going to allow you to make progress, and not only make progress, but sustain it like over the course of years and the rest of your life. Not something that you're going to suffer through for a few weeks or a few months and then quit. Like that's useless. I was actually having a conversation with a gentleman today, and he's following some other coach's program. I'm not going to mention any names here for the sake of, because I don't want to offend anybody, but he's following another coach's program, and this guy has them doing this, you know, extreme training, extreme diet, and he knows, like he's only a couple weeks into it, and he says, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to sustain this. It's like he's burnt out already after just a couple weeks. And like, if you can't sustain it, it's only temporary. If your diet and exercise program has a start and an end date, the results are only temporary. Like it has to be something that you can sustain, maintain, and enjoy for years, for the rest of your life. Like there's no finish line when it comes to this. And that's something, once you wrap your head around the idea that getting in shape isn't a 30-day shred, it isn't a 12-week program or some whatever, and you realize it's the rest of your life, and you know, you have to get into the habit, the lifestyle, and actually settle into a program that you enjoy and can sustain. Once you get your head out of that, oh, I'm just going to suffer it out for a few weeks or a few months and get in shape and then quit. Like once you get out of that and you realize that it's a lifestyle, that's when the magic happens. That's when things really start to change. So, I mean, when you're looking for fitness information and advice, you want to look at it from the long-term perspective, right? Anybody can starve themselves and go on some crazy extreme program for a few weeks or a few months and see some short-term progress. Like, heck, and that doesn't take rocket science. I mean, I'll give you the ultimate shredding program right now. Do 2 hours of cardio a day, eat nothing but chicken and broccoli, and do that for the next 6 months, right? Chicken, broccoli, and 2 hours of cardio a day on top of your weight training. You do that for the next 6 months, I guarantee you're going to lose fat. You're going to be leaner. You're going to be more shredded and whatever else 6 months from now. But guess what? You're going to hate life, and you're not going to enjoy the process, and you're just going to want to quit and binge and go back to your old habits. Like it's not sustainable, right? That's the difference. right? Anybody can put you on an extreme starvation cutting diet and get results, right? That's a no-brainer. That's any idiot can do that. How do you actually enjoy the process and have a system that you can sustain for years and just enjoy the process? Something that allows you to enjoy a sane life, enjoy the process, and maintain it over the long term. That's the secret. And that's what I really focus on helping people with. It's not the extreme all or nothing approach. It's how can you be good enough to make progress, but still enjoy the process, right? That's the secret. Anyway, that's kind of I don't know where the hell I was going with that. I know that had nothing to do with the question that was answered because I just went off on a rant there. What was the question? Oh, we were talking about Stuart's book. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how I linked that up. Anyway, next question. You don't know what you're getting here. I guarantee you don't know what you're getting. I mean, well, right? This is live. Jose is joining in. Hey, Jose, how's it going? He is from New York, and he's been working out while listening to you. Still working out in his garage. Some days are cold, some warm. 2 days ago, it was 40. Today is 60. Question. On a deload phase, what percentage of weight should I use? I was thinking of doing father-son workout for a deload. All right, so the question is at the end there, but there's a couple things I just want to acknowledge. When you're working out in a garage or somewhere where the temperature is not regulated, dress appropriately and warm up appropriately. Don't skimp the warm-ups. For the love of God, don't skimp the warm-ups. Like of all the things that you can do in the gym, the warm-up is the most important. Because if you don't warm up and you end up pulling, straining, tearing, snapping your shit up and getting hurt, that's the worst thing you can do. It really is. That's the absolute worst thing that you can do, because if you get injured, that's going to set your progress back. Like nothing will set you back further than an injury. Like if you skip a workout, big deal. You can always work out the next day, right? If you do an easy workout, you don't train to failure and you just kind of go through the motions and you pussy out and you have a really easy workout, big deal. You can always train harder the next day. But if you go in there and you do too much too soon, or you don't warm up and you end up pulling, straining, tearing, snapping something up, guess what? That's going to take time to recover. That could take weeks, it could take months, and in some cases you may never fully recover. So injury prevention is the number one thing. And when you are cold, you're more likely to get injured, right? So you want to warm up, dress appropriately. Like if I'm training in a cold garage gym or something like that, well, I don't, but if I did, I would be wearing layers. Like I would have a t-shirt on, I would have a sweatshirt on. I would have layers on. I would do cardio to get my heart rate and blood flow and temperature all warmed up. I'd be doing extra warm-up sets and mobility work before I actually got into the actual weight training exercises. Like I would over warm up. That's what I would do. If it's cold, I would over warm up. I don't care if it takes me 20 minutes to do the warm up. I would over warm up to make sure that everything is loose and limbered and feeling good before I attempt heavy weight, because again, I want to prevent that injury. So do that. And maybe you're doing it anyway, but I just want to acknowledge it, because I mean, hey, winter's coming on, at least for us in the North America and the Northern Hemisphere. Like we're moving into winter. It's getting colder. I know for those of you who live in Australia and down in the land down under, it's the opposite. But for us up north, right, it's getting colder. So yeah, you want to be extra careful and cautious when it comes to that. What was the question? What percentage of weight do you use on a deload? Just train lighter. Like seriously, you don't need to calculate it all out by percentages and stuff like that. Like what I do if I need to do a deload phase, and for lack of a better word, all deload means is you're still going to work out, but you're not going to kill yourself in the gym, right? You're just going to train easier. You're going to train lighter. You're not going to push the limits when you work out. So you're not going to stress your body out when you train. And there's multiple ways that you can go about deloading. One is you can switch and do like a machine circuit routine. So let's just say you're doing all heavy barbell lifts. You can switch to maybe doing some lighter machine exercises, probably doing lighter weights, higher reps, just going through the motions, right? Don't rep out to failure, stop your sets short of failure, and just kind of enjoy being in the gym. Just enjoy working out without having to push it to the limit. Right? Just like to give you an analogy, it's like instead of trying to go pedal to the metal in the car, it's just like a little casual Sunday drive. right? That's all it is. Like you're still going through the motions, you're still working out, you're still getting the benefits of regular exercise and calorie burning and stress relief and all the endorphins and all that good stuff that comes from exercise, but you're not pushing the limits, right? You're not going pedal to the metal, right? You're leaving the gym knowing that you could have done more if you wanted to, but you're purposely stopping short of failure. You're purposely giving yourself permission to have just an easy, casual workout, right? It's like running a flat out sprint or going for a walk, right? You're allowed to go for a walk. You don't have to go as fast as you physically can every time you move. Same when you're in the gym. Like you don't have to lift as heavy as you physically can every time you work out. It's okay to do an easy workout, right? There's no shame in that. In fact, easy workouts have their place, right? Yin and yang, everything has its place, right? You need the hardcore high intensity stuff and you need the gentle active recovery stuff. And that's what the deload is. It's a gentle active recovery workout. So in my case, I usually just go through the motions with an easy, like a total body machine circuit routine. You know, I've got several of them up on my channel. Like usually my beginner workouts, they would be ideal for deload programs for a more advanced lifter. So yeah, just go through the motions and just don't push it hard. Don't train to failure, right? That's as simple as that. Like as far as percentages, like just lighter than you were when you were pushing yourself, right? You don't need to break out the calculator and do, oh, I got to lift at 76% of my 1 rep max and this and that. No, who gives a shit? Just train lighter. That's all. Just train lighter. Don't train as hard. That's a deload. And do that for a week or two or however long it takes until you're feeling well rested and you're ready to go back at it again. There. Very scientific approach. What else have we got? Let me see. Pathriatora. What? Patriator. Or second, as soon as I let my finger off the phone, the chat goes away. Patriator. Okay, that's his name, I think it is. If I'm butchering your username, whatever, I'll answer your question. Lee, with test levels dropping after 30, if we keep deadlifting and squatting, which releases growth hormone, can the body keep producing it from these exercises in old age? All right, good question. Was it Patriot Trader? I think is it Patrio Trader? I don't know. I was never one for making up weird usernames. Like ever since I got on the internet. Like I started using the internet and I actually started my own website like back in 1997. And ever since then, like the only username I've ever had for any account was Lee Hayward. Like every account that I ever signed up for, like they asked for a username and all this, Lee Hayward. Like I use my own name, but very few people use their own name, right? We have a lot of keyboard warriors. They want to hide behind an anonymous username. I've never ever did that. I've never had a fake username for anything. I always use my own name for every account I ever signed up for. Anyway, side note. Back to your question. What can you do to help increase hormone production as you get past 30? Does squats and deadlifts help? Yes, it helps, but you can't, escape the laws of nature. Like as you get older, your hormone levels are going to decline. That's just part of the way it is. What I would recommend is try and live as healthy as possible. Like obviously avoiding anything that's going to speed up the breakdown of your body, like eating a lot of junk food, drinking alcohol, recreational drugs, living a stressful life, not getting enough sleep, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Like obviously get all the foundation covered. And then obviously heavy weight training in moderation that you can recover from and do so safely. That will help to optimize your hormone levels. It'll help you to maintain and even gain muscle as you get older. I mean, I've got guys in my coaching program, guys in their 60s who are still making gains. Now, granted, when I say still making gains, it's because they started training in their 60s, which is, I got mad respect for. Like it takes a lot of courage, a lot of gumption to start something new when you're in your 60s, right? Like most people just give up on themselves when they get to that age. They're like, oh, I'm over the hill. Who cares? Like I'm just going to sit and drown my sorrows in a bottle. Right? Like that's unfortunately the way it is. And I know a lot of friends and family members who've done that, right? And they're paying the price for it. But I've got several guys now in my coaching program in their 60s who are making gains, like going to the gym, building muscle and seeing results, right? And that is so cool. I've got mad respect for these guys. So yeah, you can still make progress into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, but it's not going to be the same as young people. Like, you're not going to make the same level of gains as someone in their 20s, right? You just don't have the same recovery, you don't have the same hormones, and regardless of your own squats and deadlifts, you can't overcompensate nature, right? You can't escape it, right? It's not a fountain of youth, right? It can help, but it's not a fountain of youth. What I would recommend you do is as you get older, like 40 plus, get your hormone levels checked. Like, this is something, when you go get your physical, your regular checkups from your doctor, request to get your hormone levels, your testosterone, your growth hormone, your thyroid, and all that stuff checked. Like, most doctors, they don't do it. Now, I know some new age doctors are kind of getting into it, but like most doctors, they're looking at your blood pressure, they're looking at your cholesterol and your blood sugar, and all these big major markers. But hormones, who gives a shit about that, right? Testosterone, no, we don't need to worry about that. Growth hormone, no, don't worry about that, right? But ask for it. Like, it's only when they're doing the sheet for blood work, it's only a check mark, right? The doctor will check off, okay, yeah, actually test for his testosterone levels. Okay, check for growth hormone levels. Okay, check for thyroid levels. Like, that's all it is. You ask your doctor, and then when you go get your blood work, they'll test those things. And then when you get your checkup with your doctor, he'll let you know. I mean, if you're in the average, low or normal or high or whatever, and if you are in the low range, then that's when you want to discuss the possibility of options for hormone replacement, right? And I know a lot of people who are using that, right? I've got several of my coaching students who are using hormone replacement therapy, and ironically, every one of my coaching students now who are using hormone replacement therapy, the reason why they're my coaching student is because they thought hormone replacement therapy was going to solve all their woes, right? They are 40, 50, 60, or they're over the hill, so to speak. They get on hormone replacement therapy, think that's going to solve all my problems. And then they get on hormone replacement therapy. Yeah, they do feel better. Yes, they do have some more energy, a bit more sex drive, all that stuff. But they're still overweight and out of shape. Like, hormone replacement therapy doesn't fix poor eating and lifestyle choices, right? So you still need to have that foundation in place. Like, you can't escape it. The foundation of proper exercise, proper nutrition, proper lifestyle habits, and consistently having those habits in place, that is the foundation, regardless of what supplements or drugs or anything that you're taking. Like, you can't escape that stuff, right? You need to have that in place first. So lay the foundation, and then all the other stuff on top of that is just gravy to help the process along. Well, Seth is joining us with a question. He says, Lee, I've lost 50 pounds so far this year. Congratulations. He says, I started at 325 and shooting for another 50 pounds to land at 225. I put on muscle, but would like more. When should I focus on gaining? Great question. Great question. Okay, there's two parts to it, actually. When should I focus on gaining muscle? After the weight loss, or phase in weight loss, muscle gain, and on and off till I'm down to 225? All right, great question. I would not focus on bulking, if that's what you're asking. I think that's what you're getting at. Like, when should I bulk? All right, that's the question. Right? You were 300 pounds. You were 300 pounds, 325 pounds. Do not bulk. Like, no, bulking is like, eliminate that word from your vocabulary. Like, throw that out the window, throw it in the trash can, right? Toss it to the curb. Do not bulk. Like, bulking, especially for someone who was previously overweight, is like the worst thing you can do. Because the way most people bulk is they just eat excessive amounts of food and they end up getting fat. Like, that's the reality of bulking for like over 90% of the people who bulk, is just an excuse to get fat. I'm speaking from experience. Back in my bodybuilding days, when I used to do off-season bulking, that was just off-season getting a fat ass. That's all it was. It was just an excuse for me to justify getting fat. That's what bulking was. And I did it year after year after year. I would go through these extreme bulking cuts, always trying to tell myself, oh yeah, I'm getting bigger. I'm going to gain muscle for next year's competition. I stayed the same weight all the time, even though my contest weight, from off-season to pre-contest, it would fluctuate up and down as much as 50 pounds, right? I'd bulk up, pack on 50 pounds of extra weight, diet down, lose that 50 pounds, step on stage, and I do it all again next year, right? But my contest weight didn't really change that much, right? I was at a plateau, because what was happening is, yes, while you do gain some muscle when you bulk, you also pile on a shit ton of fat along with it. And then when it comes time to change gears and now you have to cut, what happens is you end up losing all the muscle you gained in the process of cutting to lose the fat. And it's just this catch-22. Like you can't make progress, right? It's like taking a step forward and then a step back, a step forward and a step back. Like there's no progress being made. You're just spinning your wheels. You're gaining and losing and the same amount of muscle over and over again. You're much better off to try and stay lean and just make a slow, steady gain. And that's what I recommend doing now. And that's what I recommend to a lot of people who I'm working with. Like, forget the whole bulking, cutting, focus on body recomposition. And you can build lean muscle while losing body fat simultaneously. And I would be willing to bet that in the process of you starting to work out and improving your eating habits and losing that 50 pounds that you have already, you've probably increased your lean muscle mass. Like, if we were to actually break out the numbers and, like do body composition analysis, it's quite possible, like, you may have lost 55 pounds of body fat while gaining 5 pounds of lean muscle in the process, thus a net weight loss of 50 pounds. Now, those are generic numbers because, we got to factor in water and glycogen and all that in there as well. But ballpark figure, like, just hear me out. It's quite possible you've actually gained some lean muscle while losing that body fat in the process. And you can continue to do so as you continue to get leaner. And the leaner you get, it's actually going to be advantageous for building leaner muscle, because what happens is the leaner you get and the less fat you're carrying, your insulin sensitivity goes up and your body becomes more efficient at actually utilizing the food you eat and converting it to lean muscle. That's why people who are leaner can usually get leaner and stay leaner. When people are fatter, they get fatter, right? Like, the leaner and the more active you are, the more efficient your body becomes at building muscle and burning body fat. And you can continue that. So forget this whole bulk cut BS and just focus on recomposition, right? Building muscle while losing fat in the process, or in your case, losing fat while building muscle in the process. Like, that's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on just the healthy habits and let the results take care of themselves. Don't get into this whole bulk cut BS, because what's going to happen is, let's just say you get down to your 225, in a year's time or whenever, however long it takes you, you eventually hit that, and then you decide, oh, I want to bulk, right? You're going to bloom back up and you're just going to gain a shit ton of fat in the process. And it's just going to be it's going to be a setback. It's not going to be a step forward. So forget it. Like, seriously, just focus on making this body recomposition. That's what I want you to do. And that's what I've been able to do. You can maintain a lean physique while making slow, steady muscle gains in the process. All right, hopefully that helps, Seth. Let's see what else we got coming through here. Oh, shoot. Somebody sponsored the chat for $5. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Much appreciated. This is the super chat. That's from Gene. Thank you, Gene. If you have any questions, Gene, money talks. So you put up some money. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right, I'm getting a flexi emoji there, but yeah, thanks again for the support, much appreciated. Where was I to? Seth's question there about the bulking stuff. Shahan is saying TRT after 40 worth it. Talk to your doctor if you need TRT or hormone replacement therapy or testosterone replacement therapy, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it is absolutely worth it. It can make a huge difference, because once you're beyond 40, like, it's not coming back on its own, right? It's like losing your hair. If you go bald, it ain't coming back on its own, right? You can use all the potions and the rubs and take all the supplements and whatever else. Like, you're not going to regrow it on its own. That's when a hair transplant comes into play. Right? Same with your hormones. Like, once your testosterone declines, it ain't coming back on its own, right? So that's when the hormone replacement therapy can really come into play. Right? But again, talk to your doctor or go to a clinic or whatever. In fact, if you need help with this, I know a fellow who can actually hook you up with, who runs a clinic in the United States and can actually, do virtual online consultations with doctors to see if you need to get if you have any questions about hormone replacement therapy or whatever, send me an email, because I know a person who can actually help you out. It's the guy who runs the Dad Bod Transformation Group. And I'm a resident coach over on the Dad Bod Facebook group. And the owner of that group, actually, his business that he has is a TRT clinic, and it's specifically geared for men over 40. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Again, the Dad Bod Transformation Group, I'm over there, resident coach. And, we can get you set up with an appointment. You can actually talk to a doctor. And if, due to the whole COVID thing, you can do a virtual, appointment. You don't even need to be there in person. Right? You can get the blood work done in your local area and whatever and get it all set up online. Where else was it? My next question. Let me. Mazelma89. Hello, thank you for doing the live session. Masam here. I'm 31 years old. I'm 5'10". I'm 61 kilograms. I really find it hard to put on muscle or gain weight. Could you please advise? Eat more. 61 kilos. So like that's just doing math in my head. You're around 130 pounds ish. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, like that's pretty low weight. Like that's considered underweight. In your situation, all right, for someone who is underweight, this is where the quote unquote bulking approach can actually be advantageous because you need to get more calories in your system. Like 5'10", 61 kilograms, which is in the ballpark of 130 pounds. That's like underweight. To put it in perspective, like the previous guy that I was talking to, I believe it was Seth, like he was over 300 pounds. Like he makes two of you. So two, like chalk and cheese. When you're talking to someone who's like obese and needs to lose weight versus someone who's, ectomorph, needs to gain weight, this is where the whole bulking and cutting theories can change. So in someone who is naturally underweight, this is where you can focus on having that calorie surplus and actually making some lean gains, but don't make the mistake of eating junk. Don't make the mistake of the dirty bulk. I see this a lot, right? Like a lot of guys think, well, I'm so skinny, I can eat whatever I want. And then they go and they're starting to slam back McDonald's and pizza and Pop-Tarts and potato chips and ice cream and cakes and cookies and whatever, right? They just eat whatever the heck they want, thinking, well, I'm so skinny, I can get away with it. And what ends up happening is they gain weight, all right, but they're getting fat. So now they're skinny fat. And like, that's the worst. Like, it's one thing to be skinny and ripped, because then at least when you take your shirt off, people are like, oh, okay, yeah, you're in shape, right? You kind of got that Bruce Lee look going on, right? You're skinny and ripped. But if you take off your shirt and you're skinny and fat, like, man, that's like the worst of the worst, right? Because now you got no muscle and you got no definition. You're like, man, it's just, right? There's no, there's not much enthusiasm for being skinny fat. So don't make the mistake of eating a lot of junk food. Like, increase your calories, yes. Focus on a calorie surplus, yes, but do so with quality nutrition. Good sources of quality protein, complex carbohydrates, lots of fruits and vegetables, and healthy fat. Basically, eat the same stuff that you would eat if you were on a fat loss diet, just eat more of it so that you're in a calorie surplus. That's it. And it doesn't have to be a big calorie surplus, like 10%. Like, that's where I recommend people start. Like, if you're going surplus or deficit, 10%. So let's just throw out some numbers. Let's just say you're eating 2,500 calories a day right now. Bump it up 10%. Add an extra 250 calories a day and see how that affects your body, your energy, your strength, and all that stuff. See how you feel. And then, if try it for a couple weeks. If you're seeing progress, great. If you're not, then hey, bump it up another 10% and see how you feel. Right? Make small changes. Don't have this all or nothing extreme approach. Like, I see a lot of people when they finally decide, I'm going to bulk, I'm going to cut. They make these massive dietary overhauls from day one. Like, they say, I'm going to bulk up and then just slam an extra 1,000 calories a day into their mouth. Right? And then next thing you know, they're ballooning up and gaining all kinds of fat. Or, someone decides they want to cut and then they say, I'm going to slash, 1,000 calories a day from my diet. And then they end up feeling hungry and irritable and hangry. Like, no, don't make these drastic overhauls. Small, gradual progression. That's all you need. Small, gradual progression over the long term. But if I know when I'm going through a lot of this, like some of it might be generic stuff because, again, I just have very limited information here that I'm going by. But if you would like some help with a customized training, nutrition program, or even if you just want to talk more and clarify your questions, send me an email, leeh@leehayward.com. That's my personal email address, leeh@leehayward.com. Send me an email And if I can help you out, then I will. And if I can't, then I'll try and point you in the right direction to somebody who can. Like, I've been around the industry for literally decades. I've got a big network of people in the fitness industry. So if you need help with certain things, if I can't help you with it, then I can probably point you in the right direction to somebody who can. What else we got? Lee Dunnigan. I actually was chatting to Lee a couple weeks ago. We had a coaching call not too long ago. It says, I got a slight impingement on my shoulder and calcium buildup on my buildup. My physio suggested Shockwave Therapy to dispel the calcium, which I'm going to do. Do you have any knowledge on Shockwave Therapy? Nope. Simple answer. I've never done it. Don't have any. I have done ultrasound before with a physiotherapy. I don't know if that's the same thing or not, but basically, when I tore my bicep several years back, it's like 10 years ago now. It was 2010 when I tore my bicep, and that's my left bicep. You can see it's actually shorter. Like, it doesn't go all the way to the elbow because the bicep was torn, so it's a bit shorter, right? So you can see that. When I tore that, they did ultrasound therapy. So what he did is he used to take this ultrasound machine, just the same as like, the ultrasound machine they use in the hospital, except there was no screen. It was just the ultrasound wand, or whatever the heck they call it, the dooflicky, the ultrasound dooflicky, and they would go over the muscle. And he was saying like the ultrasound would help to break up scar tissue. Now, I did several sessions when I was going through it, and I mean, I guess it helps, but I mean, it's really hard to know. So I don't know if that's what they refer to as the shockwave, or if the shockwave is some new and fancy thing that they got going on. But that's the most experience that I have with it. So not a whole lot, actually. David says he enjoys eating chicken and broccoli. Good for you. I love chicken and broccoli too, but I don't want to just eat chicken and broccoli. Like, chicken and broccoli is great. Nothing wrong with chicken and broccoli. But when it's only chicken and broccoli, that's when it can get a bit monotonous. And when it's only chicken and broccoli for months on end, that's when it kind of gets, like, if you went 6 months of eating nothing but chicken and broccoli, so chicken and broccoli for breakfast, chicken and broccoli for lunch, and chicken and broccoli for dinner, and hey, you want to have a snack in between, have some chicken and broccoli, by golly. And you do that for like week after week, month after month, and you do that for like 6 months while in a calorie deficit, that's when it's going to start to drain on you. And eventually you're going to I don't want to do chicken and broccoli anymore. I want to eat some real food. And that's when you binge and, go off the bandwagon, right? That's where the chicken and broccoli diet goes wrong, right? Nothing wrong with chicken and broccoli, but when it's only chicken and broccoli, that's where the problem comes in. Spaceship battleship Alex, he's out of this world. Lee, I'm glad you went off on the tangent. I needed to hear that. I've been spinning my wheels for a while. Okay, so people actually enjoy my tangents. That's good, right? I'm talking to the camera here, right? I hope you enjoy it. Obviously, there's a lot of people tuning in. I'm getting lots of thumbs up, so I mean, it must be going good, right? Jose says, I've been following your advice for 10 minutes of warm up. I wear layers of clothes and with an electric heater. Good stuff. Glad to hear it. And like I say, if when it comes to warm ups, like backtracking here, Jose had the question saying that he was training in a garage and it can get cold in the wintertime. When it comes to the warm ups, always err on the side of more than less. So you don't worry about warming up too much. Like, I used to get that a lot. Like, some of the guys were like afraid to do too many warm-up sets, or afraid to do too many warm-up exercises, thinking that, oh, well, if I do too many warm-up sets, then I'm not going to be able to lift as heavy on my max effort all-out work set. Like, that's kind of a stupid way to think about it, because if you don't do enough warm-ups and then you try that max heavy all-out work set and you get injured, then you just screwed yourself up for weeks or months or whatever. I would much rather do more warm-up and not be able to lift as heavy on my quote-unquote max out work set and still, be healthy and mobile and injury-free. Like, unless you're a competitive powerlifter and you're trying to weigh the pros and cons, like, okay, how many attempts do I have before I hit my peak and I won't be able to get another, like, that's a game that competitive powerlifters play. Like, they're trying to judge their opener and their second attempt and their third attempts to make sure that they can get the most weight lifted on the platform. But if you're working out in the gym, like, who gives a shit? Like, if you hit a personal record today, or you do it tomorrow, or you do it next week, or you whatever. Like it's the healthy, being mobile and injury free over the long term. That's what matters the most. But anyway, Jose, err on the side of warming up more if needed. Don't skimp on those warm-ups. Right? 10 minutes should be like the minimum. Heck, 10 minutes is how much I warm up when it's warm out. 10 minutes is how much I warm up when I'm already warm. If I'm cold, I'm going to do more. Angel is joining. He says, I'm happy with my size, but I notice that I have weak points. Is it okay to train them first? Yeah, that's a good question. Let's grab a sip of water and talk about that. Everybody, including you watching this video, including you're going to notice that after a while, certain body parts are going to respond better than others. So like if you've been working out for any length of time, let's just say like a year or more consistently, you're probably going to notice certain body parts develop faster than others. You make strength gains in certain body parts better than others. Like, I don't know, maybe you got a strong chest, but you got a weak back. Maybe you got strong arms, but you got a weak chest. Maybe you got, strong upper body, but puny legs. Maybe you got big legs, but a puny upper body. Whatever. Everybody's going to have their own, individual body makeup. Certain things are going to exceed and progress faster than others. Once you start to notice this, like, let's just say, for example, did he say what? Did you mention what body parts are? No, you didn't. Well, whatever body part it is, Angel, let's just say it's the arms. All right, let's just say your arms are lagging behind, because this was the case for me, and it still is the case for me. Like, genetically, my arms lag behind the rest of my body parts. Like, when I was a teenager and training, my big legs, right, big chest, my back responded well, but my arms and shoulders always lag behind. Like, you look at some of the pictures from my early bodybuilding days, and I'll probably post up some of them. I got some. Like, they're not digital pictures. They were taken with 35 millimeter camera, and I actually scanned them to get the digital versions of them. But you look at my early contest days, like, fairly well-developed torso, especially for a teenager, big legs, but skinny arms, right? That was my weakness. So, I had to prioritize my arms. And what I recommend you do when you have these imbalances, a simple strategy that you can do is just the way that you structure your workouts. And what I would do is train your weaker body parts twice a week and train your stronger body parts once a week. Simple. So, like, just structure your workouts. So in your case, all your strong body parts, the ones that respond well, once a week. All your weak body parts twice a week. And try and structure it so that you're not prioritizing too many things at once. Like, you can't prioritize everything. Like I get a kick out of that. People say, well, I want to prioritize my arms, and I also want to prioritize my legs. And, I think I should prioritize my shoulders. And heck, while we're at it, let's throw in the chest and the back while we're doing it. And like, no, that's prioritizing your whole darn body. Like, that's not prioritization. That's just everything. Like, prioritizing means you take one or two things to focus on. So, like, could be biceps and triceps, right? Those are the two muscle groups that you're going to focus on. And you're going to train those twice a week, while everything else just gets put on a maintenance program of once a week. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to make progress in your stronger body parts, because you still can, but it means that you're allocating more of your body's recovery and energy to those stubborn body parts, because you're training them more frequently, you're putting more emphasis on them, and you're allowing more time to focus on the whole growth recovery process with those stubborn body parts. And this is what I did myself, right? Back in my, throughout my 20s, when I was really trying to prioritize my arms, that's what I did. And it did help. Now, they're still not perfect, but they're a heck of a lot better than they were, right? And that's what you want to focus on. You want to focus on progress, right? Don't get hung up on the perfection, just focus on the progress. But that's a simple strategy that anybody can do. Find out whatever your weakest body parts are, and double up the frequency for those weak body parts while scaling back the frequency of your strong ones. Naveed says he's 27. He feels like he's too old and past his prime. Holy shit, man. If I was 27 again, and I can relate to where you're coming from. Like, because everybody thinks, like, when you're going through a certain phase, like, you feel like you're old. Like, right now, like, I'm 42, and sometimes I feel like, man, I feel like I'm getting old. And then next thing you know, I'll talk to somebody who's like 62, and he says, well, geez, I wish I was 42, right? Like, everybody don't worry about how old you are or whatever. Like, focus on improving where you are right now. Like, bottom line, you're never going to be as young as you are right now. Like, today, right now, this moment, as you're watching me on this video, this is as young as you will ever be, right? From this moment forward, you're growing older. So take action now. Don't put it off, because if you put it off, you're going to be, pissing around and dicky-dallying around, and next thing you're going, oh shit, I wish I had started when I was 27. I wish I had started when I was 37. I wish I had started when I was 47, right? Time doesn't stop, right? It keeps moving. So start now. Like, seriously, don't say, oh, I'm too old, I'm this, I'm that. I'm not. Start now, right? You'll thank me in the future. I promise you that. Because if you don't and you delay, like, even if you say, oh, I'll start next week or I'll start next month, like, if you keep putting it off, it's never going to get done, right? Anyway, start now. You're never going to be as young as you are right now. Pogie Boots is joining. Gotta love that one. I don't know. I just love saying Pogie Boots. Thanks for recommending Strava last week. It will be a game changer. Yeah, I noticed Pogie Boots is following me on Strava. I've seen some of your kudos. Like, that's what they call it on Strava. You don't give someone a thumbs up. You give them a kudos. I've seen some of your kudos on my rides. It will be a game changer for keeping things interesting and keeping me motivated. Oh, and nice work on the night rides with your fat bike. Impressive. Thanks. I love my fat bike. I was out for a night ride last night. Now, night rides around here, like, start pretty darn early, because, I mean, like, it gets dark. Well, the sun sets shortly after 4 o'clock, right? So, I mean, if I'm out till 5 o'clock, like, it's pitch black. So it doesn't, a night ride is technically not that late in the night anymore, right? But I've got like a light on my helmet. I've got handlebar lights and stuff like that. So, I mean, I got it set up that I can see the trail even in the night, and they're pretty strong lights. So I'm enjoying nighttime rides at 5 p.m. What else we got there? We have Lil Juice Coop. What? Lil Juiced Coop. Lil Juiced Coop. That's a tongue twister for you. Nice to have you with me during supper. All right, I'm glad to be joining you for dinner. What's on the menu? I wonder what we're having for supper this evening. Seth is saying, awesome, thanks. We have Ronnie is saying, thanks. You're welcome, gentlemen. Glad to help. I'm glad somebody's finding benefit of me flapping my gab here. My wife tells me to shut up, so someone's getting benefit from it. I got Mike joining in saying, back training for 2 weeks after a month off and training 50% and ready to start increasing. Should I go up in sets, weight first, or both? Just do more. I mean, there's another YouTuber I follow along, Greg Doucette. I actually used to compete with Greg back in the day. We both competed at the 2006 Atlantic Canadian Championships. But he has a phrase, train harder than last time. And that's what I'm going to suggest to you. Don't worry, like you're saying, what should I do? Should I increase the weight? Should I increase the reps? Should I increase the sets? Should I do this? Just train harder than last time. I'm going to steal that line from Greg Doucette. You've probably seen his channel. He's blown up on YouTube all over the place now. Fellow Canadian, just lives next province over. But yeah, I competed with him back in the day. Of course, he went on to become a pro bodybuilder, and I didn't. But that's cool. But yeah, train harder than last time. I'm gonna steal that line from Greg. And it's simple. Like you don't need to overthink it. Like, when you're doing your exercises, like if you're lifting whatever it is, let's just say you're doing 100 pounds and you're doing 10 repetitions. If that's easy, then either do 100 pounds for 11 repetitions or try 105 pounds for 10 reps. Like, add 5 pounds or add a rep. Like, do something. Just make it a little bit harder, and you don't need to overthink it. And what I do when I'm going through my workouts like that is I make a little note. So, like, you have your program, with your exercises, your weights, and all this kind of stuff. And I just make a little note next to each exercise. So, like, after I do it, I'll either put a plus sign, I'll put an equal sign, or a minus sign next to each exercise. So then when I review my workout log the next time, I'll say, okay, I put a plus. That means I can go heavier. That felt easy to me doing this workout. I feel I can go heavier next time. So I put a little plus sign, means plus, add the weight. Equals means I work pretty hard to complete that exercise, sets, reps, weight, whatever. I'm going to keep the same weight for next time. That felt challenging. I want to keep that same weight. So I've just put an equal sign. And then if it felt like, oh, I overestimated how strong I am, I need to lighten the weight next time, then I put a minus sign. And it's a little strategy. You got your little training journal, your notebook, or whatever you're using to record your workouts. After each exercise, just put a plus, equals, or minus, and just adjust the weights accordingly. So if you go through a workout and you say, hey, that was easy, do more next time, right? Either add reps or add weight, right? One or the other. Or if you can, do both, right? I mean, it's kind of rare that you're going to do both, but if you're in the early phases of training, sometimes you can add weight and reps at the same time, but usually focus on one or the other. And this is another little strategy, seeing we're talking about progression here. I like to work within a repetition range. So let's say you're doing an exercise, you're doing 3 sets of 10 reps of whatever, of a given exercise. Next workout, try to do 3 sets of 11 reps, then try to do 3 sets of 12 reps. Once you get up to 3 sets of 12, then back it down to 3 sets of 10 and up the weight by 5 pounds, right? That's a good little strategy. And then go 3 sets of 11, 3 sets of 12. Once you get to 3 sets of 12, drop the weight back, or drop the reps back to 10, add 5 pounds to the bar, and go through it again. Like, it's not going to work out perfectly, because some exercises you can add more weight than others, whatever, but it's a good little strategy, right? Try and incorporate that whenever possible. Right? Like, obviously there's going to be a big difference if you're adding weight to a leg press versus adding weight to a dumbbell curl, or, it's easy to add 5 pounds to a 500-pound leg press versus adding 5 pounds to a 25-pound dumbbell curl, right? So, I mean, you use common sense when it comes to this, but it's the theory. It's the general idea. Like, focus on increasing the reps first. Once you hit your top threshold for reps, drop it back down, add weight, and then work it up again. What else we got here? I'm almost out of water. So when I'm out of water, that's the chat's over. Eagle Eye John is joining us. And he says, is it best to change reps every 3 weeks or so, please? Not necessarily. Like, if you're making gains, don't change it. Like, the only time you need to change your workout is when it stops working, or you're just ridiculously bored with it. And progress and enthusiasm kind of go hand in hand, because if you're making gains, then you're usually going to be pretty enthusiastic about your workouts. Like, if you're getting bigger and stronger and seeing progress, you're going to be excited about going to the gym, because you're going to want more progress. But if you start, not making any progress, then you're kind of your enthusiasm is going to dwindle as well, because you're going to get bored with it. So when you find that, one, you're not making progress, or you're just really, really bored with that routine and you just want to change up and do something different, that's when you can change it up, right? But if you're making great progress, then ride that wave of momentum. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep doing what you're doing for as long as you're making progress with it. And I get a kick out of this. Like, sometimes I'll see guys, they're following a program and they're getting stronger week after week after week. And they think, because, I've been doing the same thing for 6 weeks, maybe I have to change it up. I'm like, no, don't change it. I mean, if you're still getting stronger, keep going. I don't care if you're doing the same program for 6 months. If it's working, you're getting bigger, you're getting stronger, keep going. Like, that's the whole purpose of going to the gym, is to get bigger and stronger. It's like if you're running a business. Imagine I'm running a business and it's bringing in money every month. And like, I have a system in place, whatever. I'm running advertisements, or I have this marketing system in place, and it's profitable. I'm making money month after month after month. Do I say, I've been doing this for 6 months, maybe I should change it? No, if it's working, you're making money, keep doing it. Like, it's working. It's bringing in the results that you want. Why are you going to change what's working? Like, same with your workouts. Why are you going to change what's working? Right? Keep doing it. Now, if it's not working, then you change it. It's like running a business. I mean, if you're running a business and it's not profitable, or worse, you're losing money, then heck yeah, change it. Like, do something different. Keep doing the same shit and you'll get the same results, right? So, I mean, if you're getting bad results, then is when you change it. Don't change it when it's working. Right? That applies for your workouts. Like, I get a kick out of it. Like, I'm not going to name names again, but there's one guy. Every 6 weeks, he emails me and he says, what should I do next? What should I do next? I'm like, are you making progress? Yes. Do the same freaking thing you were doing before. Like, keep doing it until it stops working. Like, there's no deadline where a workout expires after 6 weeks. Like, you can still follow it, right? Heck, if you can follow it for 6 years, follow it for 6 years. If it's working, it's working. Like, anyway, rant over. Move on. And Eagle Eye John, it was not every 6 weeks, it was every 3 weeks. My bad. So no, you don't change it every 3 weeks, right? That's like me, like if you're running a business, right? And okay, we've been profitable for the last 3 weeks, but I think we should change it now. No, keep doing it until it stops working. Azim is joining in. Azim's a regular to the chats. He says, Lee, this COVID is really a bummer. No shit. But in a sense, it really made us think of how to lead our lives in an appropriate way. What do you think? Yes, I totally agree with you. I agree with you. One, this COVID is a bummer, but it really kind of puts things in priority of what's important and what's not, right? Because, at the end of the day, like your health is more important than anything. Like people bitch and moan and complain, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't go shopping, I can't go to the restaurant, I can't. Are you alive and well? Is your family alive and well? Like that's what's like important at the end of the day, not all this nitty gritty BS of stuff. Like your health and wellness is the most important thing. Like if you don't have your health, then nothing else matters. It really doesn't, right? Like you could have all the money in the world, you could have all the personal belongings in the world, all the friends in the world, you could have everything going for you. Like you could win the lottery and feel like I got everything. But if you're not healthy and you're not able to live life to the fullest and enjoy it, then you really have nothing. Like health is the ultimate thing. That's why I'm such a big advocate of being healthy and just enjoying life and living a long, healthy life and doing whatever you can to prolong that. I mean, it is a gift to be given life. It really is. And if you treat it like a gift and you do everything you can to maximize it, then, that's when the magic happens. It really does. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. It's been a big eye-opener for a lot of people. Chris is joining us. Do hammer and reverse curls hit different parts of the biceps? I know they hit the forearm, and if so, which grip on tricep exercise also hits different parts of the tricep? Yeah, they do. Like you will just feel it. Like try it. Do a hammer curl. Do a reverse curl. Like you will feel it work different areas. Now, when it's kind of hard. How can I explain this? When you do the hammer curl, you're going to hit more of the brachialis muscles, and it's not going to give you the same peak in the biceps, but it's still a beneficial exercise. Right. Same when you do like an exercise like with a supination, like say you do a dumbbell curl and you supinate, which is basically just twist your wrist. As you curl it up, you twist your wrist. Like you will feel the biceps work different. You'll even see it. Like the biceps look different. Like as you curl up, right, you see them twist, right? You just get that supination twist going on, right? Like so it will work different aspects of the muscle, and the same applies with triceps. Like if you use a flat bar for tricep push downs, or an easy bar, or a rope. Each one will feel different, and you'll probably even have to adjust the weight. Like typically when you use a rope, which is kind of similar to a hammer in terms of like a rope push down is kind of similar to a dumbbell hammer curl in terms of the hand positions. You'll be a lot weaker with a rope compared to if you're doing it with a flat bar or an easy curl bar. Same with the biceps, right? You may feel stronger or weaker depending on the different variations that you use. So it's normal to feel that, and what I recommend is just change it. Like you can start with one exercise variation. Let's just say it's a regular dumbbell curl or it's a regular tricep push down. Focus on that for as long as you're making progress with it. When you feel like you hit a plateau with it, either you get to the point where you can't make any gains with it, then you could change up the exercise variation. Or if you just get bored with it, you can also change it up then too. But you don't have to do every single variation, every single workout. Like focus on the bigger picture. As long as you're working the muscle, the major muscle, that's all that really matters. Like some people get really hung up on the details. They think, well, I got to work this angle and this head and this part and this. Like as long as like doing a bench press is going to work your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, and going to work all the different aspects, right? You don't need to focus on every little nitty gritty detail in every single workout. Like if that was the case, then you'd have like 100 exercises per workout. And it's just, you can't do every exercise, in every workout. You just had to pick a few, work them, make progress with those exercises. And then when you hit plateaus with those exercises, or you just get sick and tired of doing them and you want to change it up for variety, that's when you can do some of the different variations. So like, I don't try and hit every single angle when I do a workout. I focus on the bigger picture. Like, okay, as long as I'm hitting the overall chest, as long as I'm hitting the overall bicep, the overall tricep, the overall shoulders, the overall legs, think of the bigger picture. And then once you start hitting plateaus with those those exercises that you chose for those muscle groups, that's when you can get into doing different variations, or based on mobility as well. Like, let's just say you've been doing bench press for weeks on end, and then all of a sudden, oh man, bench press really causes problems with my shoulder. Well, then maybe I'm going to switch to a dumbbell press, or maybe I'm going to do an incline press, or maybe I'm going to use a hammer strength machine or something like that. That's when you can get into trying different variations. You're working around mobility issues, or it's safety issues or whatever. But like, as far as the muscle development itself, as long as you're working the major muscle, you're still going to make progress. Like, I know powerlifters who have made amazing progress and built big muscular physiques just focusing on squat, bench, deadlift. Like, they don't need every exercise variation in the book and hitting this angle and that angle and this and that. If you show me someone like who's super strong in the squat, super strong in the bench, and super strong in the deadlift, they're going to be big and strong all over. Like, just focusing on that will build muscle. You know, you don't need to do every little angle and detail and whatever, right? Just getting big with the basics, you know, getting big and strong with the basics works. Now, it's nice to have variety built in there, but don't get hung up on the details, right? Like, I had this conversation with a coaching student the other day, like with the triceps. His workout, we had him doing like two different tricep exercises. And he said, well, what about this head of the tricep and the long hand and this, and what about the lateral head? And well, like, just build the freaking tricep. Seriously. Like, when you hit a plateau with those exercises, we can choose different ones, but don't overthink it too much too soon. Right? People are like trying to run before they can walk. I don't know where, I'm sure that was a rant off this. When I get talking, I almost forget what the freaking question was that I started with. Anyway, I've been going for over an hour at this, so I'm going to get ready and clue it up. I'm just going to have a quick scan through the questions and see if there's any that really jump off the page at me. And if there are, I'll answer them, and then we'll clue it up. Mike says I must have torn my glute muscle because it's been sore for 2 months, even after a month off. You may have a nerve impingement. There's a lot of nerves that run up your glutes. There's a lot of nerves in the ass. It could be like that's what it probably is. It's probably a nerve impingement. If I had to guess, right? I doubt you've torn a muscle in your ass, because if you tore a muscle, you'd have bruising and discoloration and deformation or whatever. It's probably a nerve impingement by the sound of it. Talk to your doctor. Seriously, or talk to a physiotherapist or someone like that. Like, this is something that you should get addressed, because nerve impingements, they can be, you know, with some proper physiotherapy, they can usually be remedied pretty quickly. What else we got? How should I go about gym anywhere? Biceps. Someone wants a bicep flex. Right there, bicep flex done. I probably got sweaty armpits to go with it. I sweat when I do these videos. I really do, right? I work up, I get my metabolic activity going on. I probably burn more calories doing a video than I do walking on the treadmill. Eagle Eye John, done warm-ups, lat pull-downs. I do... Okay, that's actually a good question. I don't know if it's going to be the one I'm going to end the chat on, but I wanted to address this one. This is from Eagle Eye John. I do lat pull downs on warm-ups. Let me start again. I'm getting tongue-tied here. On warm-ups, I do say lat pull down, lat biceps. You probably don't need a warm-up on biceps, as they're done from pull downs. All right. Kind of a bit messed up grammar there, but I know what you're trying to say. You're training your back with the pull downs, and the biceps are coming in as secondary muscle groups. And you're thinking, well, when I go to train the biceps, do I need to warm up the biceps because I already kind of worked them with the back? Yes, you still need to do a warm-up. At least do a light, progressively heavier warm-up set. Like, don't think that because, you know, it's like thinking... okay, I did bench press, and okay, my triceps and shoulders come into play when I do a bench press, so I don't need to warm up when I do tricep or shoulder exercises. No, you still need to do a warm-up set. Like, and it really, it's relative to how heavy you're lifting as well. Like, if your work set is a set that allows you to do 20 plus repetitions, well, no, that's probably warm-up weight. But if you're going to do something heavy, like less than 10 reps, do a progressively heavier warm-up set. Like don't skimp on the warm-ups is what I'm getting at, right? And the thing with warm-up sets is they don't have to be heavy. They don't have to be time-consuming. Like you can just do a quick little warm-up set, and you don't even need to do high reps on your warm-up sets. Like when I was training for powerlifting and doing multiple sets, I would often do like 5 reps or less on warm-ups. Like you don't need to exhaust yourself and do rep to failure on a warm-up set. No, that defeats the purpose of a warm-up set. A warm-up set is just taking a lightweight and just simply working the muscle with a few reps to kind of get the body acclimated to that weight. So like, for example, let's just say I was going to do a 400-pound deadlift, right? I would start off with 135, then I would go 185, then I would go 225, then I would go to 275, and then I'd go 315, 365, and then 4 or 405, whatever. Like I would build it up step by step like that. And for those sets, I would probably do anywhere from like 5 reps would be a max. And as I worked up to heavier weight, sometimes I'd even do like a triple or a double or maybe even a single. Like you don't have to burn yourself out with reps on those warm-ups, but do them because it acclimates the body to that heavier weight. Like don't just jump into the heavy weight. Like build it up gradually. And I do that especially like on weight stack machines at the gym and stuff like that. It's so easy with a weight stack machine because it's just changing a freaking little pin. Like you're doing, let's just say you're doing a seated row machine or something like that, a seated cable row, right? Just do an easy set with like 50% of what you normally lift, and then do another little easy set with about 75% of what you normally lift, and then go to 100% of what you normally lift. Boom, right? You know, and even if you're just doing 5 reps for each of those warm-up sets, it's better than nothing. Again, it helps to get the body conditioned to lifting that weight so that once you get to your top weight, it's not like a shock to the system, right? Your muscles are already warmed up to it. That's the whole purpose of the warm-up set, is just to prevent injury, right? The thing is, like, you don't truly appreciate injury prevention until you're injured. And like, I mean, I'm talking this out, but a lot of people is going to be in one ear and out the other. But then one of these days you're going to do something stupid and you're going to end up pulling something, tearing something, snapping yourself up, and you're like, oh man, now I understand the benefits of those warm-up sets. And that's the reality is most people have to get injured before this is going to sink in. And I'm hoping that it's just a minor injury for you, but in some cases it's probably going to be a major one. But that's the way it is. That's the way it was for me, right? I thought I was invincible until I had my first injury, right? Even though I knew intellectually, no, I'm not invincible. And I knew intellectually, yes, I can get injured. But I still trained with that careless mentality thinking, injuries are something that happens to somebody else. It's not going to happen to me, right? It's like we all think, dying, like, hey, I'm not going to die. Dying, death is something that happens to other people, right? I'm not going to die. That happens to other people. Reality is we're all going to die, right? Injury happens to everybody. Like this stuff, it's not just happens to other people. It happens to you too. And unfortunately, until it happens to you, you don't really appreciate it. And I mean, I was guilty of that, especially when I was younger, right? Like I always thought, oh, those injuries, that's something that's going to happen to somebody else. It's not going to happen to me until it did. Do you ever watch Scooby's channel? I haven't in years, but I know who you're talking about. I used to watch Scooby back in the day. I mean, he was like one of the original YouTubers. Is the GOMAD considered a type of dirty bulking? I don't recommend a GOMAD. For anybody wondering what the heck's a GOMAD, it's a gallon of milk a day. And I think that is kind of like stupid. Like, why do you need to go overboard on milk? Like, that is just going to cause gas and bloating, and man, you can probably give most people the runs. Like that's, it's going to be dirty bulking, and it's going to be dirty in the back of your shorts. That's where it's going to be dirty too. I mean, if I drank a gallon of milk, man, I would be farting, and I would have the most. Oh, it would just be nasty. No, don't have milk. Like your gallon. There's other ways to get your protein and blah blah blah. Right, much better ways. I would not drink milk. All right, guys, I'm just skimming through the questions here. Like I said, I'm going to get ready to clue it up. And if there's anything that you would like to discuss, if you have a question for me that you would like to discuss offline, or if something maybe I didn't answer your question, or you want more clarification on what we discussed here during the chat, send me an email, leeh@leehayward.com. You feel free to email me. I do answer my own email. Might take me a couple days to get back to you, but I do answer them. And if I can help you out, then I'll let you know. And if not, then I'll recommend someone who can, or try to anyway. But bottom line, hopefully you enjoyed the video chat. I enjoyed doing it, and I know I've rambled on for an hour and 14 minutes. Holy crap, that's a lot of gab. So I'm going to get ready and shut up and go up and enjoy dinner with the family. Hopefully you enjoyed this chat. Have yourself a great weekend. Look forward to chatting with you on the next chat. The plan is I'm going to be doing this every Friday around 4 p.m. Eastern time. That is the game plan. I want to get back onto a strict schedule because I know I did fall off the bandwagon for the last few weeks, but every Friday now, 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you're not already doing so, follow me over on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and type in Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding. I've got a private group that you can join as well as a page that you can like. Do both. Like the page, join the group, right? Because I am more active over on Facebook, and the reason why is because you can actually have a conversation on Facebook. It's much easier to message and communicate back and forth. So if you haven't already done so, follow me over there. If you want, you can add me as a friend on Facebook. Do that as well, and we can stay in touch. And until next time, have yourself a great one. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Over and out. And where's the end button? I always get confused. Where's the end? Because YouTube changes this all the time. Is that an end button? Okay, there we go. All right, I found the end button. Goodbye.